This is my Sony CD changer. It's a CDP-C705. You know, I'm almost beginning to think I am crazy. The date on this is 1990. That makes this thing 34 years old. So, but I like it, and I'd like to get it going again. It was skipping a little bit, so I'm thinking that a new laser assembly might be required, but then it just quit, and it won't recognize any of the discs. So hopefully we can fix it, and whatever I find, hopefully it'll help anybody else that has a similar problem. So you can see I've got the CD player apart. I've actually repaired it and aligned it. So this isn't really going to be a discovery troubleshooting video, but I am going to show you what the sort of the Achilles heel of this type of player is, and I'll walk through the alignment procedure because I really haven't seen a very clear procedure on YouTube. You may be wondering why I have tape on the top and tape on the drawer. It's a tip. I've had this thing apart so many times, and this drawer is very easy to scratch, and the top of this is very easy to scratch. And as careful and diligent as I was, I've managed to put a few scratches in it, so I'm not taking any more chances. As long as I've got it apart, I just taped it up. So anyway, we'll show you what I discovered. I spent the better part of a day fooling around with this thing. I think I already mentioned that my guess was the laser was getting weak. It seemed to work all right up until the point it failed, but I had to leave it on for about 5 minutes, and then it would play fine. So my thinking was the laser was getting weak, so I ordered another laser. This is not like an original. There is a difference between the aftermarket lasers and the original, and I'll insert a picture showing the difference between the two. Since that really wasn't the issue, and I was able to align this thing and get it to play, whether they were factory-produced CDs or burnt CDs without any skipping, I'm sticking with the original laser. I'll keep this for later use. If you notice here, I've left wires attached to a couple of the test points. The green one is ground, and the blue one here is the RF output. And the other two test points are on the other side. They're a little hard to find. In fact, in the manual, I found it a little misleading. But I'll show you where the two other test points are. They're for the tracking error and the tracking error gain and the focus error gain. And they're over on this side here. About 5 years ago, I had a problem with this thing. I had it apart, I did an alignment on it, and it just quit. The motors wouldn't spin up, the sled wouldn't do anything. And after, probing around on here, I found I think it's a 7-volt power supply was missing. And by testing between this connector and like going through and probing out the connector, I found the ground and the B plus was missing, and it was broken at this end on the flex. And I believe this is sort of the main problem with these units, because this board is constantly going up and down. This part of the ribbon cable is flexing all the time. So over time, I believe that it can break up here. And actually, that was the real issue this time as well. I had jumpered the positive and ground about 5 years ago, and this time it was actually pin 3 that was broken, which is one of the control signals coming back from the laser. So yeah, after a day of fooling around with it, and then I found that, and I added another wire, it's working fine. So yeah, if you have one of these style of players and it stops playing, ohm out this ribbon cable. This is a picture of the board and where the test points are. The RF test point is here, marked it as RF output. Ground is called VC, V common, but it's basically ground, and that's where you put your scope ground. The focus error is, output is here, and the tracking error output is here. Now I've soldered wires onto these points to make it a little easier in the future, and actually I left these wires attached. I just coiled them up underneath the player. I had to trace this out to find these 2 points. They have them marked over here, and I don't believe they're correct. They have an FE0 here and a TE0 here, and I didn't find that they went to the right point. If you look at the schematic, this point should go to IC 101 pin 5, and this should go to pin 11 on IC 101. So, and those are the points I used, and they seem to work. I'll put a link to this in the description. So I'm not sure this is the completely official procedure, but I've spent days fooling with this machine. From page 8 of the service manual, which is available online, they show the eye pattern, and you have to connect to the RF test point on the board, which is marked. I've soldered wires onto that because I've been into this thing frequently. And the power adjustment is on the actual laser head itself. It's the control when you look at it to the far left. And I've adjusted it for 1.2 volts. Where'd it go? There it is. Pretty faint on this old scope, but you can see it's clearly there. 0.2 volts per division. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1. About 1.2 volts. I used a store-bought CD. They tend to have a higher output than the Burn CDs. So yeah, make sure you adjust. It's a very fine adjustment on the power adjustment. To get at the power control on the laser head, That can be done from the top, and I found the best way to do that is to hit the skip button, and I'm going to hit it again. Oh wait, there. I shut the power off while the table is retracted, and that allows you to move the table, and you can move it back a little bit, get your screwdriver in, and you can almost go directly into that power control. And that is the one, as I showed before, it's on the far right. So to get at the focus gain control, the tracking gain controls, which are on the board, the best way, you can do that again from the top, best way I found to do that is to hit the skip button, wait till the table comes up, and then what you have to do is, unfortunately you can't do this while it's playing, wind back the laser with there's a white gear there that I'm winding back the laser so I have access to the controls underneath. And you'll see them. They're both there, both visible. They're right there. On the top is the focus gain control, and then below that, slightly to the left, is the tracking gain control. There it is. Page 9 talks about the tracking gain and focus gain adjustments, and I found them pretty good. A little difficult to find where the points are. I'll include a screenshot of the board layout and where all these test points are. The first one is focus gain, I believe. And the test point is FE0 and ground. And you want to see a signal that's riding about 100 millivolts. And quite honestly, let me change. So, scope is set to 2 milliseconds per division, and on DC, it's supposed to be set to 100 millivolts, but I've got it set to 200 millivolts, and you see the signal is riding probably maybe closer to 300 here, but that's where it seems to want to work. The manual shows here centered on 100 millivolts, but I'm not touching it. It seems to be working well. And the next measurement is for the adjustment for that. I'll show you where the trimmers are. They're on the main board, and they could be accessed without taking the bottom off the unit from the top. And that one there would be adjusted with RV102, which is the focus gain adjustment. And then the tracking gain is a different test point. And we'll hook that up. Again, an adjustment on the main board. Scope setting the same. Scope setting is supposed to be 100 millivolts per division, 2 milliseconds. And according to the service manual, it's supposed to ride right on 0 volts. Which it does. It jumps a bit, I think, as it's doing corrections, but primarily it's sitting right about 0. And it's not skipping now, so I think that's where it will stay. Well, I did some searching on the internet. This interconnect cable here is really unobtainium. I couldn't find there is a part number on the cable. The part number matches what's in the manual. The description in the manual, and there's a small pictorial of it, is different. So I don't know, anything could have happened. This is a custom-made cable, flat cable. It's interesting because at this end, it's a 1 millimeter pitch, and I figure it's probably about 8 inches long, and at this end it's actually 18 pins, and on this end it's wider, it's 22 pins. And you can probably see maybe in this picture, I don't know, yeah, zoom in a bit on it. Focus, come on. So on this end of the cable, these 4 pins in between are not used, and this pin is brought out to the very last pin. So why the difference in connectors on the 2 ends? I don't know. I bet you it was a running production change. One of the boards changed. This is probably maybe an interim thing. I don't know. Anyway, I couldn't locate it. But there's maybe a couple of possibilities from DigiKey. Like pretty common cable, one of these flat cables that is like straight 18 pin or 22 pin. So my thinking is you get an 18 pin cable and then you probably slice it up near this end here, and I don't know, have to be some MacGyvery thing there, I guess. They're only like $3, so I may order one. Give it a try. Well, that'd be it. It lives to see another day. Yeah, I don't do very many repair videos, but whenever I run into something that I really can't find very much on the internet about, I like to put something out to help anybody that's trying to repair one. As far as that one cable, it's really, I would figure unobtainium, as I said before, and but I'm thinking that from DigiKey, maybe a standard cable could be somehow compromised to work in that situation. And they're not expensive, they're like $3. So I've added it to my wish list for DigiKey. The next time I make an order, I'll order that cable and try it. And the other little cable that goes between the laser head and the board, it's about 4 inches long, and it's a 12 pin cable. Yeah, and I've seen the Sony part number on the internet for like $40 and $50, but I'm pretty sure it's the same cable from DigiKey for $3. So might give that a try too. So there you go.